This is Long Way to the Top, and I'm your host, Shane Bryan. In the words of the immortal AC/DC, it is harder than it looks. These interviews will give you a glimpse into the lives of the artists that we've sung along with, danced and rocked out to. Some go deep into their past and others celebrate their recent releases. But all of them show that regardless of who you are, it's always a long way to the top. They were one of the loudest bands on the planet, the pioneers of hard rock music, and their song Smoke on the Water has become the #1 song for guitar students around the world. With 100 million albums sold worldwide, Deep Purple's lead singer Ian Gillan is this week's guest on Long Way to the Top. Thanks for joining me on the show, Ian Gillan. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you very much. Just having a cup of tea.
Having a nice
wake up in Portugal.
Nice little cup of tea in Portugal. Well done.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where you reside these days?
Well, that's my base. Yeah,
yes.
I actually my home is in England, but I've got a studio here, and the weather's nice, so I spend a lot of time out here.
Yeah, very nice. You're going to be coming to a really nice time over in Australia here?
That's right. Yes, in your autumn time. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. Now, let's go back to 1969, if you wouldn't mind, because that was the year that you started with Deep Purple.
Yep.
I guess they had a bit of a breakthrough with Hush, with psychedelic rock, but they wanted to go for a more hard rock sound, and then you came along.
Yeah, Roger Glover and I joined at the same time. We were in a band together. We joined as a singer and bass player, also as a songwriting team, so things changed quite a lot in '69.
Yeah, and of course Child in Time was one of the first things that you did, vocally, lyrically. You said at the time that you were inspired by Arthur Brown, The Crazy World of Arthur Brown.
In a way, yes. Actually, I heard Fire, if you remember that record. It was brilliant when I was
I do.
Yeah, a few years earlier. And I thought, well, that's an area that hasn't been exploited much, and it's well within my range, so let's do it.
Was he your inspiration for you vocally, or just for that period?
No. It was just for that approach to the, what is called at the Royal Opera House, my tenor passaggio. That's what they described my voice as at that time.
Yeah, and now, of course, you don't do child.
No. I haven't done that for 30. Well, I don't do pole vaulting anymore, and I don't run marathons anymore. So exactly that. If you get what I'm saying. No, it's Arthur Brown was great, but my influences were pretty widespread. My granddad sang opera. My uncle was a jazz pianist, and my grandmother was a ballet tutor, and I was a boy soprano in the church choir. And then I heard Heartbreak Hotel, and that was really what got me started. And it was the early rock and roll. Chuck Berry, Little Richard, Buddy Holly, all that sort of thing. That's where I stepped in and started my first band. So I soaked up loads of influences when I was a kid.
Yeah, it was really like, the heyday of rock and roll too, and I guess it was so different to everything that your parents would have listened to.
God, yeah. Well, technology played its part even then, because the transistor radio came along, and then we could take the music out of the house. And then the independent radio station started up. It was a golden age.
Yeah. Now, talking about that golden age, you saw a Presley film, and you decided that you wanted to be a movie actor.
Yeah.
Was it? But then you took a job manufacturing ice machines. How did that work out for you?
Well, I think they might have thought I had an attitude, but actually, no. I didn't want to be a movie actor. I wanted to be a movie star. I forget the acting bit. I just wanted to be up there on the screen, because it was like I was very impressionable and whatever. And my logic, as I was walking home, I thought, well, Elvis is a rock. We didn't call him rock singers in those days, but he's a rock and roll singer, and so maybe if I start singing, then I can become a movie star. So, it's that teenage logic and dreams and whatever. So I stopped a guy in the street and called a rehearsal at my house on the council estate for Saturday morning. And that's how it all started.
Yeah, right. Oh, nice. Very nice. And, obviously 1972, you guys were recognized by the Guinness Book of Records as the globe's loudest band. In fact, I believe that there were some members of the audience that actually fell unconscious.
Well,
or is that just a myth?
I think there might be an apocryphal element to that story. It's I think the only guy that had a sound meter at the time would have been at our concert. But I think what happened is that when you're measuring sound, an awful lot to do with it. It's not just the level; it's the frequencies, and everything was tinny and thin, and but it was excruciatingly loud. But when we got the tone sorted out, and you don't need the volume, so we played a much. It sounds punchy, but you don't work at that volume these days.
No, of course not. Smoke on the Water was actually inspired by a true story.
Yes, I don't know which came first, actually, the story or the song, because we went to Montreux to record out of a recording studio situation in the casino, which was Montreux is a summer resort.
Yes.
So it was November and they were closing down, and Frank Zappa was doing the last show of the season. We were supposed to move in and start recording the next day. And during the show, some guy came in with a flare gun and right over my shoulder, actually, and shot two flares into the roof, into the ceiling of the room. And it was all wood, and it caught fire in no time at all. And so we had to get out. And there's a guy called Claude Knowles who was the hero. He was Mr. Montreux, and he found us a place in the pavilion. And then the police started banging on the door in the middle of the night. We were waking up the whole town because Montreux goes sleepy in the winter. And so we had to move again to the Grand Hotel, which was closed for the season. And we managed to do it. We couldn't get to the truck because it was downstairs, corridors, out windows. And so we had to trust the engineer that it was a decent take. And then on the last day, he told us we were 7 minutes short of an album, which had to be 38 minutes or 19 minutes aside in those days. And so we only had a day to go, and to write another song was quite challenging. So we had to listen to the soundcheck tape that we did, which I refer to as the Dan Dan song. And so we thought that'll work. We just got to write a song over an existing track, and so we did that. And the song was the biographical story of the making of Machine Head, the album. So, Smoke on the Water, we all came out to Montreux on the Lake Geneva shoreline to make records, etc., tells the story. And it's amazing how serendipitous all these things can be sometimes in the face of a disaster. It was absolutely horrible, the thing. Fortunately, nobody died or got badly hurt, but it's a vivid impression on my mind still, watching the downdraft from the mountains blowing the smoke of the burning casino across Lake Geneva. Hence, Smoke on the Water. That's where it came from.
And, as you said, it was the last song on the album. It seems to be always the way that that's when, moments of greatness happen. And you've got a song that it's one of the first songs that people start, trying when they pick up a guitar and want to learn a guitar. That and Stairway to Heaven. I mean, this is your Stairway to Heaven. Well, yeah, I suppose. I never thought of it that way, but that's an interesting way of looking at it. I got loads of stories from that time because we were breaking barriers, and I remember a friend of mine in school in San Francisco. His friend came screaming across the sacred turf, the sacred lawn outside the school window in his convertible car, and he was playing Highway Star, max volumes. He said, "Hey, Lenny, you got to hear this." Lenny climbed out the window, got in the car, and drove away. Never went back to school ever, and that changed his life. So, and it was. I think the key to Smoke is its simplicity. I mean, they're typically blues notes. They fit within the blues structure of the riff I'm talking about. Sits within the blues, the classical blues structure. Those notes.
They're just in a different order.
It is one of the most recognisable songs. The moment that you hear that initial riff, that hook.
Well, it's very hooky. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. Now, it's very hard to actually engineer that, to think down. It has to be natural, without much thought. The best songs I always think are written in 10 minutes.
Without a doubt. Now you played. Obviously you sing. You played some drums there, but you decided that the singing was what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
You couldn't play drums and sing at the same time. Which is, I think, it was a very wise move.
Hey mate, I couldn't play drums.
Yeah. Okay. I was being kind. Did you ever try and learn guitar?
Oh, enough to fiddle around when I'm writing. That's it. Just chord structures and things like that, but not lead guitar or melodies or anything like that. No, but I can find my way around a fretboard if I need to work into a chord or chord sequence or something like that. It's easy enough. Yeah.
Now, obviously yourself and Roger Glover. There's been a bit of fun, I guess, at the expense of your both of your last names, and you actually made light of the misspelling of Gillan as Gillian, and you did a song about Mr. Grover and Mr. Gillian.
Mr. Grover and Mr. Gillian, yes. You must have made a million. Yeah, exactly. The day you set something on fire. Have you ever seen these lyrics online where they put the lyrics of a song up that are so wrong? They just take them phonetically and do the best they think. And I've had so many different versions of Smoke, for example. You've got Smoke on the Water, A Fire in the Skies, and A Fire in the Sky. And there was one version of Smoke on the Water, A Fireman in Disguise, because there are probably loads of different versions. Yeah. Well, you've got to have fun. If you can't laugh at yourself, you're not really entitled to laugh at anyone else. It's my motto.
No, I totally agree. Now, I want to just move forward in your career. You took over the singing duties on Black Sabbath from Ronnie James Dio.
Yeah.
And, a little bit later on, you actually created a supergroup with Ronnie James Dio, which was for the Who Cares project. Yeah.
Well, that was
tell us a little bit about that.
That was to raise money for a school in Armenia. I'd been visiting Armenia, and I went out to see the devastation caused by the earthquake there in 1990, I think it was, and 25,000 people killed, and 250,000 homeless, and they're all walking around like zombies. I spoke to the mayor of Spitak, and but he said there's no music, not even the birds are singing. There's no music in the church. The radio is not playing music, and I said, well, when you're ready, we can rebuild that music school, which had holes in it. The snow was inside the building, and the kids were trying to play with frozen fingers, and so we raised the money and built a new school, and that was the project. Who Cares? That we did it in 2 lots. One was Live Aid Armenia, and the other one was the Who Cares project. And we weren't the only ones. There were lots of people that helped.
I think Bryan Adams was involved. And
there were lots of. Well, Richie played on the original one, Live Aid. And, Roger Taylor. A whole load of people.
Yeah, sensational. Now, you are heading down under to Pandemonium Rocks Festival.
Yeah.
And normally I would say, what do you think about playing with Alice Cooper or Blondie? But let's be honest, they were still learning music when you were becoming the loudest band in the world. So one band I have to ask about, though, is Wolfmother. Have you seen them play?
No, not yet.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure Deep Purple would have been an inspiration to them.
Oh, great.
Because their music is very Deep Purple.
Yeah. Oh, great. Well, I'm flattered.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And humbled.
You will
love it. Yeah, it's a great thing to know that, you've done something.
Yeah, exactly. Now, just as a final question, what are you listening to at the moment? What's inspiring you at the moment?
Well, we've still got the three original guys in the band. Don Airy joined us about 25 years ago, and Steve Morse left. He had for personal reasons, had a family, and his wife passed away. And we have a young, new, I'd say young, the kid's only 43 or something like that. And so we've got Simon McBride, who's just injected this huge amount of energy. We've just finished a new album, and we're going out. Well, after we've been down to visit you, we're on the road until November. So it's a pretty hectic year, and everything's very exciting. The new album will be out, I think, in July, something like that. And there are a few other projects going on. I've never been so busy in all my life.
Yeah, and you would not have time to do anything else but concentrate on that.
I've got a backlog of 2 books and an album and a fresh project that I finished 2 or 3 years ago, and I haven't even had the chance to talk about post-production or releases or anything. That'll all have to wait. Purple is definitely priority. Definitely priority. You know, we love our private projects, but they have to fit around the main thing, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, thank you so much, Ian Gillan, for joining me on the show. I really appreciate your time. And
great pleasure.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye. Bye-bye.
Hit plus or follow to subscribe to the podcast, and head over to Facebook at The Long Way to the Top Podcast and give us a like. Keep on rocking, and I'll catch you on the next episode of Long Way to the Top.